Hey guys, welcome back to another video here in the Alpha Pack Garage. Yeah, we're not in the shop right now, but we got a garage we can work out of. And today we are working on a 2013 Polaris RZR 900 XP. And we got some issues to go over. Here we go. All right, guys, so like I said, we got a 2013 RZR 900 sitting over here in the garage. And I've torn into it, and I've been diagging and trying to figure out what the hell's wrong with this thing. First thing they did wrong was they brought it to Powersports Rescue. Do not bring your bike there. I get 90% of the work I do from people bringing it there, and then it doesn't work right after they get it back, and then it comes to me. So then I got to go through all the BS they've done and figure out what they did wrong and then fix it every time. So here we go. They brought it there, sat for 6 months, motor rebuild. Supposedly it was rebuilt and whatnot. They went and got it, had check engine lights, never ran right, blowing a little smoke out of it. Just, it wasn't running right. Like it was running real rich or too lean. I don't know. It's not getting enough or too much fuel. I don't know. But after going through it, wiring was all jacked up, too small of a battery. So I got the right battery in it. Got the check engine light figured out from the vane sensor. They didn't even put a vane sensor on it. They just unplugged it and threw it away. Which caused a check engine light, and it's not going to run right without a vane sensor because it needs that. But anyway, so after diagging and going through some stuff, checking the simple things first, I checked out the fuel pump. Well, this is the fuel pump they supposedly replaced in this unit, and I don't know if you can tell, but we got a rubber hose here that's causing a little bit of an issue whenever it's cinched down. Check this out. That's some Powersports Rescue shit right there, boy. Look at how kinked that is. Well, I unkinked it, just sat it down in there, and I primed it, and fuel pressure was at like 42. No bueno. These units, from my research, need 58 PSI to run properly. So, I'm not even screwing with that. Talked to them, went ahead and got us a Quantum fuel pump. So, that just came in. I'm about to throw that in, test the fuel pressure, make sure it's at the right PSI, and then I'll hook up everything, and hopefully, crossing my fingers, it'll start up and run properly after that. If it doesn't run properly with the right PSI fuel pressure, then we're going to probably have to address something up in the engine after the rebuild. I don't know if it's timed right. I don't know what's going on there. I know the plugs are good. I know I cleaned up the fuel rail and the throttle body and all that good stuff, and it's all clean. Injectors are spraying the way they're supposed to. So if this pump don't work, we're gonna be having to come back here, airbox stuff, get into this side of things, and maybe check timing on it. I don't know, but as of right now, we're gonna throw that pump in and see what she do. All right, here we have our Quantum fuel pump sending unit, the entire unit. They run about $200. They're very nice quality. They have a lifetime warranty. That's a huge plus. So if it ever breaks, you can get a brand new one. Everything looks good on it. It's got the correct hose right here, unlike the one they did at Powersports Rescue. So this has a 58 PSI regulator. I called them and double checked all that to make sure I was getting the correct pump with the right PSI. This pump, I believe, that they stuck in here and regulator is for the older models that use a 42, I believe, PSI regulator, and it wasn't getting enough fuel pressure whatsoever. So we're going to take this Quantum pump, we're going to drop it in a tank, we're going to cinch it down with the new ring and everything. This is the old ring, so put the new ring on it, hook it all up. We'll probably test the pressure before we hook up the fuel line, see what that reads. Hopefully it'll be 58, got my fingers crossed. And then once it's all hooked up, we'll start it up, see what you do. All right, so Quantum pump is installed and tightened down. I got the fuel pump tester on there, and we're about to cycle the key over one time, a couple times, and make sure the pressure is going where it needs to go. Let's check it out. Oh, check that out. I saw 58. Ha ha! Oh yeah, right under 60, baby. And then let's see, it holds steady pretty good at 50. So that's without it running. It definitely is going to give us the correct pressure. So before, the other pump was only getting to right over 40, and then it was dropping down to about 30. So now we have the correct fuel pressure to send to this engine. Here we go. I'm gonna hook up the fuel line, prime it a couple times, and then we'll start her up and see if she runs right or not. Alright guys, so here goes the first crank with the new fuel pump. Before, what it was doing, before I crank it, it would sometimes start, sometimes not, and then it would idle barely-ish, and then when it did start to kind of idle okay, if you revved it, it sounded like crap, like it wasn't getting something like it's supposed to, and then as soon as you let off the throttle, it would just die out. So as you can see here, we are at 84 degrees. I haven't even tried cranking it yet, guys. Here's the first time. Here we go. Ooh! See, that sounds like timing to me, that abrupt clunk. Oh, we got crankage though. Let's see. It's actually idling. You see a little steam or smoke coming out the exhaust. Let it run for a second, and then I will see if it runs right or not. I mean, you'll be able to tell when you rev it, so might start clearing up a little bit. I don't know, but ever since they got it back, it's not ran right at all. They haven't even taken it on a ride yet. I hope it hasn't hurt that engine. As soon as I let off the gas, it's still dying. So I don't know, man. Well, now we have the right PSI going to the engine, and it still doesn't want to act right. So I know the guy went into the computer to do something. I don't know if that's going to affect anything, but I don't know. I'll come back when I kind of figure something out with you. Alright guys, so after running it for a minute, it ran a little better, but when you let off the gas after giving it a little rev, it dies out again, and it's blowing quite a bit of smoke out of it. Blackish, grayish smoke. So, it's got the whole garage stinking. So I shut it down. It's got an abrupt hit, like the motor wants to clang, clang, and clunk whenever it dies out, or even when you're trying to start it sometimes and it doesn't start. So my brain is going towards either timing, or they just did a shiesty ass rebuild and it's got low compression or something. My next step, I'm guessing, is going to be to tear off the air filter, or take the air filter out, make sure that's not clogged up and restricting airflow to the engine. I know it is sealed, so I'm gonna have to take all this off, all sealant and gasket material off of it, open that up, check that air filter, and then if it still doesn't run right, I will probably remove all of the intake and everything and go ahead and check compression. And if the compression's good, then we're gonna have to check the timing, but I don't know. We're just picking at it and hoping, crossing our fingers, we can figure out whatever Powersports Rescue effed up on this 2013 RZR 900 motor rebuild that they did. So I'll be back when I figure something out on this damn thing. Alright, so the air filter looks pretty new. It's not clogged up or anything, or it looks pretty new. So this is the dirty side of the air box. It's a little dirty. Supposedly this thing was sealed up, but didn't look too hot. Now when you come over here, now I've wiped it out a little bit, but look how dirty this clean side is. There's a lot of dirt up in here. So that's no bueno. They should have cleaned all this mud and dirt and water remnants, whatever's up in here, out of here. But yeah, this is a bunch of just dirt. So yeah, we don't need that going up into that motor. So we got to clean all that out. Then I'm going to start it up and see how it sounds with no air filter on it. But yeah, not good, Powersports Rescue. Clean the air box. Alright, so I went ahead and eliminated the air box and all out of here, out of the equation. And so what I've done is kind of cleaned up in here. I also removed the fuel rail because I was suspicious of maybe a leaking injector. Pulled it out, turned the key to let it prime, and no injector leak. They're spraying like they're supposed to. I did notice that this injector, the little lock right here, wasn't in its place like it's supposed to be. So I fixed that, put it all back on with some grease around the little O-rings, and hopefully that's sealing good. I went ahead and took the air control valve out again, cleaned the hell out of that, and double checked that it was moving the way it was supposed to. Check on that. So it is still making the bang when I go to crank it, but when I was going to start it this past time, it slipped a little bit, like the flywheel's not grabbing. So the one-way bearing down there for the starting gear and all is, I think, going bad. So that's why it's slipping a little bit, and then it's catching real hard, and it's causing it to go, like, make this loud bang, and then it'll crank it over and turn it on. And it'll sit here and idle just fine, but it's basically, the problem is when I give it gas, one, it's running super rich, blowing some smoke out of it because of how rich it is, and then when you let off the throttle, it'll immediately just go to die instead of coming back down to idling like it's supposed to. It does sit and idle at, you know, 12.5, 1300 RPM, so that's right. But I'm getting a little suspicious of this not being working properly, the throttle position sensor, and I think it also doubles as a air control, you know, the not idle air, that's that the mass airflow sensor. I think that's what this little doohickey is. So this part could be bad, causing it to run rich and not idle like it's supposed to when you let off the throttle. That's a thought, so we may have to change that out to know if that's the problem or not. It's definitely not injectors, it's definitely not the fuel pump. We don't put a brand new 58 psi pump on it. So if I change this here sensor and it continues to do the running rich and not run right when you're on the throttle a little bit, and it keeps dying, then we're gonna have to open up that cover there, make sure that Powersports Rescue put this thing in time properly, and also check the valve clearance while we're in there to make sure that's all good. Other than that, I'll have to figure out if we're going to get a new one-way bearing, because it is a violent crank when you go to crank this sucker. But I'll talk to Mr. Steve and see what he wants to do, and we'll get on a move with that and move forward. Alright guys, so we're at a bit of a standstill with the RZR build here because I need to talk to the owner and see what he wants to do. I got to get some parts, so I got to talk to him about that. I've looked up that throttle position sensor, and they do not sell it separately. On the parts diagram, there is no part number. It says you got to get a whole new throttle body. So they're like $1,000 for Polaris, brand new one. But you can find one on eBay for pretty cheap, and they usually come with like the fuel rail, injectors, even the wires and everything. Sometimes even the idle air control valve. So we'll try and get one off eBay that has everything on it if possible, and we'll swap that out, and hopefully that'll take care of the rich running issue and the stalling issue when you let off the throttle. I'll also mention to him about the flywheel bang when you go to crank it, and see if he wants to go ahead and replace the flywheel one-way bearing, and I'll go ahead and get a puller and a gasket and a kit for all that, and we'll go ahead and change that out on the next video, because we're not going to be able to do anything else on this one. So there's going to be a part 2 of the 2013 Polaris RZR 900 XP build. And if y'all would, please hit that like and subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, and I will see y'all in the next video. Take it easy.